There are many conversations going on around the recent shooting that took place in Parkland, Florida. However, this is not what the channel usually tries to approach, and I personally will try to leave those type of conversations to other people who are better suited to discuss it. However, there's a old time-honored tradition going on with the news agencies, politicians, helicopter parents, and other people who generally have no idea about video games. That is, blaming them for the controversies and tragedies to distract from the actual conversations and issues we need to face. So let's bask in that ignorance and roll the intro. For those of us here old enough to remember Jack Thompson, that name usually elicits a sound of a groan and a Fox News story calling Mass Effect a porn simulator, despite the fact that no one at Fox News has probably played Mass Effect. These were times when every shooting, murder, and tragedy was blamed on violent video games, movies, and rap music. Games like Grand Theft Auto and Postal were used as examples that video games and Jersey Shore were rotting the brains of American youth. Admittedly, if you were watching the Jersey Shore, you probably didn't have much of a brain left to rot. Anyways, video games and other media were being blamed for various tragedies, such as the Aurora shootings by James Holmes, Columbine, Anders Breivik in Norway, and now the Parkland shooting. And I honestly understand why people do this. Right after these tragedies, people are looking for a reason or an answer, and a lot of the time we don't get them. The shooters kill themselves, or their minds come up with an incomprehensible train of logic to justify it, or they were just straight up monsters, and in the words of Alfred, some men just want to see the world burn. People are hungry for justification, or at least to understand why they don't get to see their families anymore because a deranged human decided to gun down innocent lives. I feel for these people, I really do. Unfortunately, blaming video games is just a distraction for bigger problems that plague modern society, and American society especially. Video games are used as a convenient dodge, and not just for the NRA, but anyone looking to avoid the controversial discussions of mental illness or gun control. Now, with this audience, I really don't have to explain the research that has gone into the correlation of violent behavior in video games. I also don't have to explain that research has showed that there is no correlation of violent behavior in video games except maybe some lowered stress. However, there are others out there that are still trying to use video games as a scapegoat to avoid hard and very needed conversations. Both President Trump and the governor of Kentucky, Matt Blevin, have been critical of the role video games play in society. And you know what? I kinda see their point. We have seen manipulative gambling practices from publishers like EA. We have seen stupid and insensitive marketing campaigns like EA handling the marketing material of Battlefield 1 and turning the horrors of World War I into tasteless, stupid memes. My personal favorite was when Sony accidentally made a racist advertisement for the release of the PSP. Video game developers and video game publishers are not the sterling saints of society. One only has to look at the insulting, degrading sexism of Ride to Hell to see that much is true. But that isn't a free pass for you to just blame all your problems on them though. Video games are kinda like Donald Trump. Now let me explain before you blow up the comment section. Video games, admittedly, have done some incredibly stupid and insensitive things before, but they aren't a universal scapegoat for your societal problems. You can't just take whatever issue you are facing and use video games as a way to avoid the conversation about bad parenting, gun control, or mental illness. It would be sort of like politicians trying to fix harassment and sexual assault by blaming porn. Yes, if you look really long and really hard, you will find someone that will use porn as the reason they did something horrible. But you take the nuance and society's responsibility away when you do that. For example, we remove the responsibility from the person that sold the shooter the gun, or the authorities that didn't take the proper action, or the legislatures that have done nothing to try and make repeat incidents harder through reforms or better laws. If we are not careful, we will lose the war for the want of the horse. It's an overly complicated way of saying that we get too focused on the little picture when we need to have bigger conversations, but that's another thing. I understand the problem here. These are tough topics, and it would be awesome if we only had like one culprit or cause we could all unite under or against. But these issues we face today aren't black and white with zero-sum solutions. They are complex problems that require us to engage at higher and more complex levels and try to resolve those issues, not pass the buck onto something or someone else. So, no matter where you stand on these type of issues, be civil, keep focus, and try to do a little bit better than you did yesterday.